what is embellishment? Embellishment is a real powerful tool that you can use to make every print that you do a one-of-a-kind unique piece. It adds value to your art. Premier Art Eco Elegance comes in two flavors, a clear and a white. The white would be used for highlighting areas in an image, like sunsets, rims of light, depicting where light's coming from. The clear would be adding strokes to it, either really light strokes, feeling of movement of light, feeling of movement in the image, or really heavy strokes, imposter strokes. You can put this stuff you can build this stuff up to over a ½ inch thick. The wonderful thing about the Eco Elegance is that this has been engineered and matched with the Premier Art Eco Print Shield. It's a matched solution. If you want to use additional colors when you're embellished, you can take a Liquitex acrylic and mix it with both, either with the clear or with the white. Tools needed for applying Eco Elegance are as simple as a selection of brushes, anything from a fan brush to a thick brush to a wide brush. Brushes that you can apply texture to your image with. A palette knife is when you really want to put on a really thick coat. A palette knife is a way to apply a lot all at once, and then you can come back either with the palette knife or with the brush to give your strokes the desired feel and look that you want on your print. The other tool you need is your Eco Elegance, either clear or white. When using Eco Elegance, it comes out glossy. So some people like seeing the gloss differential on the print where the strokes are glossier than the print, especially if it was a satin coating, and then you apply Eco, it's going to have a little glossier look. Some people like to see that gloss differential because it really highlights and shows where the brush strokes are. Some people like to put an additional coat of gloss, satin, or matte after they do Eco Elegance, so everything has the same gloss differential. Techniques of embellishing. The first embellishing technique I'm going to show you is using different gloss differentials on the surface of your print. This particular print has been finished 3 coats. First 2 coats glossy, the final coat satin. But what I want to do is I want to exaggerate some of these little foam here with some gloss. So I'm just going to take Eco Elegance Glossy. I'm going to take a little fine brush here, and I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of glossiness right to that edge of that foam. So embellishing doesn't have to be really always a really thick out, it doesn't have to always be a thick impasto. It can be just really light, delicate changes too. Sometimes lighter and more delicate changes are nicer. And what I did is I just followed the edge of that foam, and you can see how I followed kind of the bigger spots of that foam and gave it a little bit of gloss differential there. Okay, next we're going to apply some Eco Elegance Clear, and I'm going to do this just a really light version. I'm just going to do a light version, just picking up some of these clouds across here, but it's going to have stroke to it now. It's not just going to be gloss differential, it's going to have some stroke to it. But these are just really light. It's just a really light, delicate, but it's more change than what we saw in the last version. So we're just building up a little bit more texture. A lot of times what you do as Eco is that you follow the lines and shapes of the light, of the shapes in the pieces, and a lot of times the feeling of movement or the feeling of the light in the images. Okay, next we're going to do a little bit more heavier. We're going to go a little bit heavier texture. So I'm going to apply more heavy texture, and I'm just going to exaggerate those trees, but I'm going to build them up pretty heavy. And you can use the palette knife either to give the final stroke, or you can use it just to apply it, and then come back with your brush and fine tune it. So what I did is I'm just following the branches of the tree. A lot of times what happens is a customer will come in and buy an edition from me, and then they want it unique or personalized by me, and I'll come back and embellish that one individual piece, and I charge a premium to add that to it. As a printer, making limited editions for other artists, the other application is a lot of my artists that do editions, they will do an edition where they offer just a straight edition, then they offer a printer embellished, and then they offer the artist embellished, each one adding more value, being a little bit more expensive. Nothing is right or wrong, it's just what feels good to you. This is using the clear. It comes out white, but it does dry clear. Okay, now I'm going to show you the impasto technique. That's where I'm going to take my palette knife. I'm going to take a lot of coating. I'm going to cover the whole print with a layer of embellishment fluid. I'm covering the whole print with embellishment. And then once I've covered the whole print with embellishment, I'm then going to come back and follow the lines of the image. And the lines of those image were light rays coming out from the center branch. So here's my center tree here, and then I have light rays coming out. If you can't remember what it looked like, you can actually scrape a little off and then come back and put it back on and add those back into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm exaggerating. And first off, I'm adding strokes to the whole thing. And this does dry perfectly clear. And then I'm exaggerating those rays. There was a sun right behind that tree, and there were rays coming out. I normally would do this before I stretch, but it can be done after you stretch, like in this print here. This print has been stretched. So I'm exaggerating those rays coming out, and I'm going to make my tree be. The fun thing about this is that it's fun, and you can't really mess up. There's no right or wrong, because it gives you artistic freedom to do fun things with it. It's just a wonderful product. This guy's a premier, come up with this idea, this embellishment fluid is just a major breakthrough. It's just totally stinking awesome.